Hello everyone and welcome to your new and updated Ultimate Cake Party Guide for Palia. First of all, I want to say a big thank you for all of the love on the last video. It really means a lot that this community is so supportive. Not long ago, we got the new 0.169 patch which rebalanced cake parties, adding a new role and changing profits so that people can't exploit them as much. This video, like the last one, is going to cover all of the roles, the order that the cake party goes in, and what resources you need to bring along. Without further ado, let's get right into it. The roles involved in a new cake party are now 1 starter, 4 leafers, 3 batterers, 1 froster, 3 fruit frosters, 3 ovens, and 3 spreaders. The setup will look something like this if you take a look around this room. Much like last time, it's a pretty similar setup, but I've added a few new things. We have 1 prep station for the starter, 4 mixing tables for the leafers, 3 mixing tables for the batterers, 1 mixing table for the froster, 3 mixing tables for the fruit frosters, 3 ovens, and 3 prep stations for the fruit frosters. If you're looking to set this up, make sure that you craft 4 prep stations, 11 mixing tables, and 3 ovens, and set them out in a similar way to how I've got here. I'm going to be giving an example of a 50 times party, but some people do them in less quantity and some people do them in more, so make sure you double check what amount people are doing before you join. The resources you need to bring along to a cake party are as follows. The starter will bring 50 star quality blueberries and also has to own the celebration cake recipe. The leafers each need to bring 50 sweet leaf. The batterers each need to bring 50 butter, 50 eggs, and 50 flour. The froster needs to bring 50 milk and 50 butter. The fruit frosters need to bring 50 star quality apples and 50 sugar. You can do the recipe with 50 blueberries, but this gives you less profit, so most people prefer apples. And the ovens and spreaders don't need to bring anything. I'm going to quickly go over the order of operations. This video is going to be very quick fire pace because I want to make it as quick and concise as possible, so stick with me through this. The starter starts the recipe right here with a blueberry and the recipe that they bought from the cooking guild. The leafers over here will then crush their sweet leaf into sweet leaf ground. The batterers on this side will use 1 flour, 1 egg, and 1 butter and turn it into 1 batter. The ovens will then put the batter into the oven and let it cook. While these 3 layers are baking, the froster, which is sometimes called the white froster, can make the frosting. Also during this time, the fruit frosters can create their fruit frosting using the star quality apple and 1 sugar. Finally, the jellied cake layers are made up by the spreaders. And finally, the starter adds them all back to the cake and finishes the recipe. I'll quickly run over the cost for each of the rolls. The starter just needs to have a high enough farming level to get blueberry seeds, and also 3,000 gold to be able to buy the celebration cake recipe. The leafers just need plenty of time to be able to run around the north of Bahari Bay to get sweet leaf. It does take quite a while to collect a lot of this, but if you've got quite a bit of time to just run around and probably just listen to a podcast or watch some YouTube, then you're pretty set. The batterers butter, eggs, and flour will cost 3,700 gold to buy from the Zeki's store. This, however, is obviously bought back by the amount of money that you make in a cake party, so it isn't too big of a fuss. The froster needs milk and butter, and this will cost 3,500 gold. The fruit frosters need a high enough farming level so that you can get apple seeds and grow apple trees, and you also need to buy sugar from the store, which will cost you 1,000 gold. The ovens and the spreaders cost nothing, and it is really ideal for beginners to join as. On average, cake parties still take around about an hour to finish, so make sure that you set aside quite a bit of time if you do want to join one, but the time flies, so you won't even notice that 45 minutes to an hour has gone by. Finally, I'm going to quickly talk about the profits. According to the lovely people on the Palia Discord server who did the cake math when the patch first came out, the best idea is to put the cakes into normal worm farms. I'll include links in the description of the calculators and the math that they've done if you want to check it out. If you sell the cakes in your shipping bin, you'll get an average of around 30,000 gold because of the nerf, instead of it being closer to 40 to 60,000. But if you put them into worm farms and then sell everything that they produce, which is the worms and the fertilizer, you'll get a few thousand more gold, and so you might get closer to like 40, 45,000. This, however, does take quite a bit of time to process, and the bin fills up much faster than the glowworm farms did back in the old patch. If you want to learn more about cake parties and also take a look at how cake parties used to be, I went into much more detail in my last guide, so feel free to check that one out. But yeah, that's about it for today's video. This was a really quick one. I just wanted to touch base and just talk about everything that is new. There have been a couple changes and the nerf and the new role, and so some people just need to be caught up on that. I really hope that this helped you to understand the new update, and I hope that you figured out how cake parties work now since the new patch. Alrighty, and I'll see you in the next one.